dog is supposed to be man's best friend, why do we allow them to be used and abused in puppy mills? Puppy mills are extremely dangerous and negligent institutions that should be eradicated, which can be done by choosing to adopt animals from shelters. By using sources like the Humane Society of the United States, Forbes, and the ASPCA, I feel as though I am fully prepared to argue my beliefs. Today, I will be explaining what exactly a puppy mill is, why it's so harmful, and how you can take steps towards promoting the better treatment of animals. A puppy mill, according to Villanova University's Melissa Towsey, is a commercial dog breeding facility that maximizes profit at the expense of the health and well-being of its animals. Oftentimes, these facilities are meant to produce designer dogs, which are dogs that have been bred to be a specific mixed breed, or they can also produce purebreds. Many institutions claim that they can get rid of so-called character flaws within the dogs, such as stubbornness or certain physical features. However, this is a problem as many of those physical features that breeders are trying to get rid of are distinctive and unique to a respective breed. Inbreeding is another common practice within puppy mills to get a purebred dog. It goes without saying that inbreeding brings a slew of complications with it. After breeding these dogs, usually many at a time and in a rapid succession, they are either sold to pet stores or they're kept by the breeder to be sold personally by them. Forbes' Alan St. John states that these puppies can go for anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s. An estimated 10,000 puppy mills are in the U.S. currently, and they make thousands of dollars each year without ever having to disclose anything about the dog's histories. Breeders are not required to mention where exactly the dog came from or how it was raised, which is one of the main reasons why puppy mills continue to prosper here in the U.S. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals states that commercial breeding causes many problems for the animals that are bred. The decrepit conditions that these dogs are kept in can oftentimes lead to the development of many diseases. Because of cramped and dirty spaces, parasite, ear infections, fleas, and a sickness known as kennel cough can quickly spread from individual to individual. Their physical appearances are also negatively affected as many of these dogs have tooth decay, hair loss, and emaciation. Many of these conditions can occur simultaneously as well. Sometimes these physical conditions affect the ability of the breeder to make a profit off of the dog, meaning that when a dog is no longer useful to the breeder, it's often euthanized. Breeders tend to practice the same philosophy with the dog that produces the puppies as well. When they have outlived their usefulness, there is no longer a reason to keep them around. As I mentioned before, genetic problems are also ubiquitous in puppy mills due to things like inbreeding. Some of the most common conditions are heart and kidney disease, deafness, musculoskeletal problems, and respiratory disorders. In extreme cases, death from an aforementioned condition is not only very possible, it's also very likely. When given the choice between supporting a commercial breeder or supporting your local shelter, the National Humane Society agrees that the shelter is always the better option. A majority of animal shelters rely on donations and adoption fees in order to continue to serve their communities. It makes so much more sense to support local organizations that are doing good and honest work rather than shady commercial breeders who prioritize money over the quality of life of their animals. Many of the dogs that are in shelters currently are completely normal and typically very healthy. In fact, shelter dogs are required to be given the necessary shots and vaccinations upon entering the shelter, so you know that you're not being deceived or manipulated about their health. Also, it's approximated that 25% of dogs that are in shelters are purebred dogs, meaning that going straight to a breeder is not your only option if having a purebred means something to you. To conclude, I hope that I have provided enough evidence to prove that puppy mills are extremely harmful, and that next time you are considering getting a dog, you will do your research and choose to adopt, not shop. I can promise you that your dog will love you all the same, regardless if you paid $100 for a shelter mutt or if you spent $10,000 on a designer hybrid dog.